There's something almost supernatural about the way Capricorns navigate relationships. While everyone else seems caught in an endless cycle of texting first, double messaging, and desperately trying to keep conversations alive, Capricorns sit back with an almost otherworldly calm that both fascinates and frustrates those around them. They possess this rare ability to remain completely unbothered when someone doesn't respond immediately, never losing sleep over mixed signals, and somehow maintaining their peace even when relationships end unexpectedly. This isn't some calculated strategy they learned from dating coaches or relationship gurus. This is pure, instinctual Capricorn energy that runs so deep it might as well be encoded in their DNA. When you observe a Capricorn in their natural relationship habitat, you're witnessing someone who has cracked a code that most people spend their entire lives trying to understand. They've discovered something profound about human nature, self-worth, and the delicate dance of attraction that gives them an almost unfair advantage in the dating world. The really fascinating part is how effortless this behavior appears to be for them.
While others are strategizing their next move, calculating response times, and analyzing every emoji choice, Capricorns are simply being themselves. They're not playing games because they don't need to play games. Their approach is so authentic and natural that it often leaves others wondering if they're missing some secret manual on how to be this confident and self-possessed in relationships. What makes this even more intriguing is how this behavior affects everyone around them.
People find themselves drawn to Capricorns precisely because they don't chase. There's something magnetic about someone who values themselves enough to walk away from situations that don't serve them. This creates a fascinating paradox, where their refusal to pursue actually makes them more pursued. Their emotional unavailability somehow increases their desirability, and their independence becomes the very thing that makes others want to be chosen by them. But this isn't some modern dating phenomenon or generational trait. Capricorns have been operating this way for centuries, long before anyone coined terms like playing hard to get or maintaining mystery. This behavior is woven into the very fabric of their being, connected to their ruling planet Saturn, their earth element, and their position as one of the cardinal signs of the Zodiac. It's an expression of their deepest values, their core beliefs about worthiness, and their fundamental understanding of how authentic connections are formed. When you really study Capricorn behavior, you realize they've stumbled upon some universal truths about human psychology that most people never discover. They understand that desperation repels, that forced connections rarely last, and that the people worth having in your life will make an effort to stay there. This wisdom didn't come from books or advice columns. It came from lived experience, careful observation, and an intuitive understanding of their own value that most signs spend years trying to develop. The depth of this behavioral pattern reveals itself in 12 distinct reasons that explain why chasing simply isn't part of the Capricorn vocabulary. Each reason builds upon the others, creating a complete picture of how these earth signs have mastered the art of attraction through authentic self-possession. Understanding these reasons opens a window into the Capricorn psyche that reveals why they operate so differently from everyone else when it comes to matters of the heart. The first layer of this mysterious behavior stems from something even more fundamental than strategy or conscious choice. It begins with their unshakable understanding of their own worth and their deep belief that authentic connections cannot be forced into existence through pursuit or persuasion. The first reason, they know their worth and refuse to beg for attention from someone who doesn't recognize their value. When you witness a Capricorn walking away from someone who's giving them breadcrumbs of attention, you're seeing self-respect in its purest form. These individuals have spent years, sometimes decades, building themselves into people they genuinely admire. They've climbed mountains, both literal and metaphorical, overcome obstacles that would break lesser spirits, and created lives that reflect their deepest values and ambitions. This journey of self-development has given them an unshakable understanding of their own worth that simply cannot be diminished by someone else's inability to see their value. The process of developing this self-worth wasn't accidental. Capricorns are natural self-improvers who constantly work on becoming better versions of themselves. They've invested countless hours in their education, career advancement,
personal development, and skill building. They've made sacrifices that others wouldn't consider, delayed gratification that others couldn't tolerate, and maintained discipline that others couldn't sustain.
This investment in themselves creates a foundation of self-respect so solid that begging for someone's attention would feel like betraying everything they've worked to become. What's particularly fascinating is how this self-worth manifests in their dating behavior. When someone shows lukewarm interest, inconsistent communication, or mixed signals, Capricorns don't interpret this as a challenge to overcome or a puzzle to solve. They see it exactly for what it is, a clear indication that this person doesn't recognize their value. Rather than trying to convince someone of their worth through persistent pursuit, they simply redirect their energy toward people and opportunities that appreciate what they bring to the table. This response isn't driven by ego or arrogance, it's driven by practical wisdom that understands begging for attention creates unhealthy relationship dynamics from the very beginning. Capricorns have observed enough relationships to know that when you start from a position of proving your worth, you often remain in that position throughout the entire connection. They refuse to establish patterns where they are constantly working to earn someone's interest or validate their own value through another person's approval. The second reason, Capricorns believe that genuine connections come naturally, and forcing relationships goes against their authentic nature. Deep within every Capricorn lies an almost spiritual understanding that authentic connections cannot be manufactured through effort, manipulation, or strategic pursuit. They've witnessed the difference between relationships that flow naturally and those that require constant maintenance just to survive, and they've made a conscious choice to only invest in connections that demonstrate organic compatibility and mutual magnetism. This belief system has been shaped by their natural ability to observe human behavior with remarkable clarity. Capricorns are excellent at reading between the lines, picking up on subtle energy shifts, and recognizing when someone's interest is genuine versus when it's polite, convenient, or based on circumstances rather than authentic attraction. They've learned to trust these intuitive readings because their practical nature has shown them that forced connections rarely develop into the deep, meaningful relationships they ultimately desire. When a Capricorn feels the need to chase someone, it usually indicates that the natural flow between them isn't strong enough to sustain a lasting connection. Their earth element gives them an instinctive understanding of natural rhythms and organic development. Just as they wouldn't force a plant to grow faster than its natural pace, they won't force a relationship to develop beyond its natural capacity for growth. This philosophy extends beyond romantic relationships into every area of their lives. Capricorns prefer friendships that develop organically over time rather than forced social connections. They choose business partnerships that arise from mutual respect and complementary skills rather than relationships built on networking strategies or superficial benefits. This consistent approach to human connections creates a life filled with authentic relationships that stand the test of time. The wisdom behind this approach becomes apparent when you observe the quality of relationships that Capricorns maintain. Because they only invest in naturally flowing connections, their inner circle tends to be smaller, but significantly more meaningful. They surround themselves with people who genuinely appreciate their presence, understand their communication style, and value their unique perspective on life. This selective approach means they rarely experience the drama and disappointment that comes from forced or manipulated relationships. The third reason, they're too focused on building their empire to waste energy on people who don't appreciate their ambition. The term empire might sound grandiose, but for Capricorns, it perfectly captures their approach to life. These individuals are natural builders who think in terms of legacy, long-term impact, and sustainable success. Whether they are building a business, advancing in their career, developing their skills, or creating something meaningful in their community, Capricorns operate with a level of focused ambition that requires tremendous energy and dedication. This empire-building mentality shapes every decision they make, including how they spend their emotional and mental energy. Capricorns understand that chasing someone who doesn't appreciate their drive and determination is not just wasteful, but counterproductive to their larger goals. They need partners and friends who understand that their ambition isn't selfishness or workaholism, but a fundamental part of who they are and how they contribute to the world. When someone doesn't appreciate a Capricorn's ambitious nature, it reveals a fundamental incompatibility that no amount of pursuit can overcome. Capricorns have learned that people who are intimidated by their success, critical of their work ethic, or dismissive of their goals will never become supportive partners or genuine friends. Rather than trying to downplay their achievements or minimize their ambitions to make someone more comfortable, they simply focus their attention on people who celebrate their drive and understand their vision. This focus on empire building also means Capricorns have developed exceptional time management skills and clear priorities. They've learned to identify activities and relationships that contribute to their long-term goals versus those that drain their energy without providing meaningful returns. Chasing someone clearly falls into the latter category, representing an inefficient use of resources that could be better invested in activities that align with their ambitious nature. The practical result of this approach is that Capricorns attract people who are equally ambitious and focused. Their refusal to chase signals to potential partners that they're serious about their life direction and won't compromise their goals for temporary romantic satisfaction. This attracts individuals who respect ambition, understand the demands of building something meaningful, and want to be part of a power couple rather than a codependent relationship. What's particularly impressive about this empire-building focus is how it creates natural attraction. People are drawn to individuals who have clear direction, unwavering commitment to their goals, and the discipline to stay focused despite distractions. By maintaining their focus on building their empire rather than chasing romantic prospects, Capricorns demonstrate the exact qualities that make them attractive, long-term partners for equally ambitious individuals. This approach also ensures that when Capricorns do enter relationships, they're bringing their complete, authentic selves to the connection. They haven't compromised their goals, diminished their ambitions, or altered their fundamental nature to attract someone. This authenticity creates a solid foundation for relationships that can grow and evolve without the underlying tension that comes from pretending to be someone you're not. The empire-building mentality ultimately serves as both a filter and a magnet. It filters out people who aren't compatible with an ambitious lifestyle, while simultaneously attracting those who appreciate and complement their drive. This natural selection process saves Capricorns from wasting time on incompatible connections, while increasing their chances of finding partners who will support and enhance their journey toward their goals. Understanding this third reason reveals why chasing behavior feels so foreign to the Capricorn nature. It goes against everything they've learned about efficient resource allocation, goal achievement, and sustainable success. Their empire requires their full attention and energy, and they're too wise to compromise their life's work for someone who can't appreciate the dedication required to build something truly meaningful. The fourth reason, their pride and self-respect won't allow them to appear desperate or needy to anyone. Capricorn pride isn't the shallow, fragile ego that crumbles at the first sign of rejection. It's a deep, abiding respect for themselves that has been forged through years of overcoming challenges, maintaining their integrity in difficult situations, and refusing to compromise their values for temporary gains. This pride serves as an internal compass that guides their behavior in all relationships, preventing them from engaging in actions that would diminish their dignity or self-respect. The development of this protective pride often stems from painful lessons learned early in life. Many Capricorns have witnessed or experienced the consequences of desperate behavior in relationships. They've seen friends humiliate themselves by sending endless unanswered messages, showing up uninvited to events, or dramatically declaring their feelings to people who clearly weren't interested. These observations taught them that desperation not only fails to achieve its intended goal, but actually pushes people away while destroying one's own self-respect in the process. What makes Capricorn pride particularly powerful is how it manifests as quiet confidence rather than loud declarations. They don't need to announce their worth or defend their value because it's so deeply internalized that it radiates naturally from their behavior and demeanor. When someone doesn't appreciate them, they don't take it personally or view it as a reflection of their inadequacy. Instead, they recognize it as a simple mismatch that doesn't require their emotional investment or continued attention. This pride also protects them from the emotional roller coaster that many people experience in modern dating. While others might spend hours analyzing text messages, seeking advice from friends about mixed signals, or desperately trying to decode someone's behavior, Capricorns maintain their emotional equilibrium by refusing to chase unclear situations. Their pride reminds them that they deserve clear communication, consistent behavior, and genuine interest rather than confusion, games, or breadcrumbs of attention. The practical application of this pride extends beyond romantic relationships into every area of their lives. Capricorns won't beg for promotions they've earned, won't plead for respect they deserve, and won't chase friendships with people who don't reciprocate their energy. This consistent application of self-respect creates a life where they're surrounded by people and opportunities that recognize their value rather than those that require constant convincing. The fifth reason, Capricorns understand that quality relationships require mutual effort and they won't do all the work alone. The Capricorn approach to relationships is fundamentally rooted in fairness, balance, and mutual investment. These earth signs possess an intuitive understanding that sustainable connections require equal effort from both parties, and they refuse to participate in one-sided dynamics that inevitably lead to resentment, exhaustion, and eventual failure. This wisdom about mutual effort comes from their practical nature and keen observation of relationship patterns around them. Capricorns have watched countless relationships where one person carried the emotional load, did most of the communication work, and constantly initiated plans while the other person simply showed up when convenient. They've observed how these imbalanced dynamics create unhealthy patterns that rarely improve over time and often leave the initiating person feeling unappreciated and taken for granted. When a Capricorn recognizes that they're doing all the chasing in a potential relationship, they interpret this as valuable information about the other person's level of interest and investment. Rather than viewing it as a challenge to overcome or a temporary phase that will improve with more effort, they see it as a clear indication that this person isn't willing to meet them halfway. Their practical mindset tells them that relationships which start with unequal effort rarely develop into balanced partnerships. This understanding extends to their definition of what constitutes effort in relationships. Capricorns don't just want someone to respond to their messages. They want someone who occasionally initiates conversations. They don't just want someone to agree to their date suggestions. They want someone who sometimes plans activities and invites them to participate. They recognize that true interest manifests in reciprocal behavior rather than passive participation. The beauty of this approach is how it naturally filters for compatible partners who share their values about relationship investment. People who are genuinely interested in building something meaningful with a Capricorn will instinctively match their energy and contribute to the connection's development. Those who expect to be pursued and entertained without reciprocating will quickly lose interest when faced with Capricorn's expectation of mutual effort. This principle also reflects their understanding of healthy relationship dynamics in the long term. Capricorns are thinking about sustainability and longevity rather than just initial attraction or chemistry. They know that relationships built on chasing behavior often continue that pattern throughout their duration, with one person constantly working to maintain the other's interest. By establishing expectations for mutual effort from the beginning, they create foundations for partnerships that can thrive over time. The sixth reason, they'd rather be alone than settle for someone who doesn't match their standards and life goals. Perhaps no other characteristic defines the Capricorn approach to relationships more clearly than their genuine comfort with solitude and their unwavering commitment to their standards. While many people enter relationships from a place of fear about being alone, Capricorns approach connections from a position of strength, knowing that they're perfectly capable of creating a fulfilling life independently. This comfort with solitude isn't born from antisocial tendencies or fear of intimacy. Instead, it comes from their ability to create rich, meaningful lives filled with purpose, achievement, and personal satisfaction. Capricorns typically have well-developed interests, clear goals, strong friendships, and fulfilling careers that provide them with the emotional satisfaction that others might seek exclusively through romantic relationships. Their standards aren't arbitrary preferences or superficial requirements. Capricorn standards are typically based on compatibility factors that they've identified as essential for long-term relationship success. These might include shared values about work ethic, similar goals regarding family and lifestyle, complementary communication styles, or aligned perspectives on financial responsibility and life priorities. Because these standards are rooted in practical considerations rather than fantasy expectations, Capricorns rarely compromise on them. What makes this reason particularly powerful is how it affects their entire approach to dating and relationships. When someone knows they're genuinely happy alone, they can't be manipulated through loneliness, rushed into decisions by social pressure, or convinced to accept less than they deserve because they fear missing out on their last chance at love. This independence gives Capricorns tremendous power in relationship dynamics because they're choosing to be with someone rather than needing to be with anyone. This preference for solitude over settling also means that when Capricorns do choose to be in relationships, their partners can feel confident that the choice is genuine rather than convenient. There's something deeply reassuring about being chosen by someone who could easily be happy alone, but specifically wants to share their life with you. This creates stronger relationship foundations because both people know the connection exists by choice rather than necessity. The practical result of this approach is that Capricorns tend to enter fewer relationships, but those relationships tend to be of significantly higher quality. Rather than cycling through incompatible partners or staying in mediocre connections out of fear of being alone, they wait for connections that genuinely enhance their already fulfilling lives. This patience also allows them to maintain their authentic selves throughout the dating process. They don't feel pressure to compromise their personality, hide their ambitions, or downplay their standards to attract or keep someone. This authenticity increases their chances of finding truly compatible partners who appreciate them for who they really are rather than who they pretend to be. The wisdom of choosing solitude over settling becomes particularly apparent when you observe the long-term outcomes of this approach. Capricorns who maintain their standards often end up in relationships that stand the test of time, provide mutual support for individual goals, and enhance both partners' lives rather than requiring constant compromise or sacrifice of personal fulfillment. The seventh reason, their practical mindset tells them that chasing someone who's not interested is simply a waste of precious time. Time is the most valuable currency in the Capricorn universe, and these earth signs have developed an almost supernatural ability to recognize when they're investing it poorly. Their practical nature operates like a sophisticated internal calculator that constantly evaluates whether their energy expenditure will yield meaningful returns. When it comes to chasing someone who's showing lukewarm interest, this mental calculator immediately flashes warning signals that smart Capricorns have learned to heed without question. The development of this time-conscious mindset often begins early in their lives when Capricorns start recognizing patterns in human behavior that others might miss or ignore. They notice how much time friends waste obsessing over people who clearly aren't reciprocating their interest. They observe the endless cycles of hope and disappointment that come from pursuing someone who gives just enough attention to keep them hanging on, but never enough to indicate genuine interest. What sets Capricorns apart is their ability to apply business principles to personal relationships without losing their humanity. Just as they wouldn't continue investing in a failing business venture, they won't continue investing emotional energy in someone who consistently demonstrates through their actions that the interest isn't mutual. This isn't cold or calculating behavior. It's intelligent resource management that protects their emotional well-being while freeing up energy for more promising opportunities. Their practical assessment goes beyond just immediate time investment. Capricorns think in terms of opportunity cost, understanding that every hour spent chasing someone uninterested is an hour not spent on activities that could genuinely improve their lives. They might use that time to advance their careers, deepen existing relationships, pursue personal interests, or simply enjoy their own company. This broader perspective on time management makes chasing behavior seem particularly wasteful and illogical. The sophistication of their practical thinking also extends to understanding the psychological dynamics of pursuit. Capricorns recognize that chasing someone often creates artificial urgency and false intimacy that masks the absence of genuine compatibility. They understand that when you have to work hard to get someone's attention, you're often pursuing the challenge rather than the person, which rarely leads to satisfying long-term connections. This time consciousness also protects them from the emotional exhaustion that comes from constantly analyzing mixed signals, seeking advice from friends about confusing behavior, or trying to decode hidden meanings in casual interactions. Instead of spending mental energy on these fruitless activities, they simply note the lack of clear interest and redirect their attention to more productive pursuits. The eighth reason: Capricorns have learned that people who truly want them in their lives will make the effort to stay. This profound understanding represents one of the most emotionally mature perspectives that Capricorns have developed about human relationships. Through years of observation and personal experience, they've discovered a fundamental truth about human nature that many people never fully grasp. When someone genuinely values your presence in their life, their actions will consistently demonstrate that value without requiring prompting or pursuit from you. The journey to this wisdom often involves some painful lessons about the difference between what people say and what they do. Capricorns have typically experienced situations where someone claimed to care about them while consistently failing to demonstrate that care through their behavior. These experiences taught them to pay attention to actions rather than words, effort rather than excuses, and consistency rather than grand gestures. This understanding fundamentally changes how they interpret relationship dynamics. When someone takes days to respond to messages, frequently cancels plans, or fails to initiate contact, Capricorns don't view these as problems to solve or obstacles to overcome. They see them as clear communications about that person's priorities and level of interest. Rather than making excuses for inconsistent behavior or trying to give people the benefit of the doubt beyond what their actions warrant, they simply accept the information being provided and adjust their own investment accordingly. What makes this perspective particularly powerful is how it eliminates the need for constant interpretation and analysis that exhausts many people in modern dating. Capricorns don't spend hours wondering what someone meant by their text message or whether their delayed response indicates disinterest. They trust that people who want to be in their lives will find ways to stay connected, make time for conversations, and prioritize the relationship without being asked or reminded. This approach also protects them from the trap of becoming overly accommodating or flexible in hopes of maintaining someone's interest. They've learned that when you constantly adjust your expectations downward to match someone's minimal effort, you train that person to treat you as a low priority. By maintaining consistent expectations for how they want to be treated, they naturally attract people who are willing and able to meet those standards. The practical application of this wisdom extends beyond romantic relationships into friendships and professional connections. Capricorns notice which friends consistently make effort to maintain contact, remember important events, and show up when needed versus those who only surface when they need something. They invest more energy in relationships that demonstrate reciprocal care and gradually reduce their investment in one-sided connections. The ninth reason: they believe actions speak louder than words, and if someone wants them, they'll show it without being chased. The Capricorn emphasis on actions over words stems from their earth element's grounding in reality rather than fantasy or wishful thinking. These individuals have developed an almost forensic ability to analyze behavior patterns and distinguish between genuine interest and empty promises. They've learned that people can say anything but their actions reveal their true intentions and priorities. This focus on behavioral evidence protects Capricorns from the confusion and false hope that often accompanies modern dating culture. While others might get excited about romantic texts that aren't followed up with actual plans, or sweet compliments from someone who doesn't make time for regular communication, Capricorns evaluate the entire pattern of behavior to determine someone's genuine level of interest. Their action-based assessment system operates like a sophisticated relationship audit that evaluates consistency, reliability, and follow-through. They notice whether someone does what they say they're going to do, whether their behavior matches their expressed feelings, and whether their investment in the relationship aligns with their stated intentions. This systematic approach to evaluating relationships helps them avoid getting caught up in the emotional roller coaster that often accompanies inconsistent behavior from romantic interests. What makes this perspective particularly valuable is how it cuts through the ambiguity that often characterizes early relationship stages. Instead of wondering whether someone likes them based on mixed signals or confusing communication, Capricorns simply observe whether that person makes effort to spend time with them, prioritizes their connection, and demonstrates through their choices that the relationship matters to them. This action-oriented approach also means that Capricorns are attracted to people who demonstrate their interest through consistent behavior rather than dramatic gestures or eloquent declarations. They prefer someone who reliably follows through on small commitments over someone who makes grand promises they don't keep. This preference naturally filters for partners who share their values about reliability and authenticity. The sophistication of this system becomes apparent when you realize how it protects Capricorns from wasting time on people who are good at saying the right things but poor at translating words into action. They've learned to trust behavioral patterns over isolated incidents, consistency over intensity, and demonstrated priorities over stated intentions. This focus on actions also creates clarity in their own behavior toward others. Capricorns understand that if they want someone to know they're interested, they need to demonstrate that interest through their choices and behavior rather than just expressing it verbally. This awareness makes them more intentional about how they invest their time and energy in relationships, ensuring that their actions align with their feelings and intentions. The practical result of this action-focused approach is that Capricorns tend to develop relationships with people who share their values about follow-through and reliability. They create connections with individuals who understand that love and interest are demonstrated through consistent behavior rather than just expressed through words, leading to more stable and trustworthy relationships overall. The 10th reason: their strong sense of independence means they don't need anyone to complete them. They're already whole. The independence that defines every Capricorn runs deeper than simple self-reliance or preference for solitude. It represents a fundamental understanding that personal completeness comes from within, rather than through external validation or romantic partnership. This isn't the defensive independence that stems from fear of vulnerability, but rather the confident independence that emerges from years of building a life they genuinely love and respect. Capricorns have typically spent considerable time developing their individual identity, pursuing their personal goals, and creating meaningful relationships with themselves before seeking romantic partnerships. They've learned to enjoy their own company, find fulfillment in their achievements, and derive satisfaction from their personal growth journey. This internal work creates a solid foundation that doesn't require another person to feel stable or complete. This sense of wholeness manifests in how they approach relationships as enhancement rather than necessity. When Capricorns consider romantic partnerships, they're not looking for someone to fill empty spaces in their lives or solve their problems. Instead, they're seeking someone who will complement their already fulfilling existence and add value to the life they've carefully constructed. This perspective completely eliminates the desperate edge that drives chasing behavior in many other signs. The development of this independence often begins early in their lives when Capricorns learn to rely on themselves for emotional stability and practical solutions. They typically become comfortable making decisions alone, handling challenges independently, and finding ways to meet their own needs rather than depending on others to provide what they require. This self-sufficiency becomes so ingrained that the idea of chasing someone for emotional completion feels foreign to their nature. What makes this independence particularly attractive is how it signals emotional maturity and stability to potential partners. People are naturally drawn to individuals who have their lives together, know what they want, and aren't looking for someone else to fix their problems or provide their happiness. This magnetic quality often draws romantic interest toward Capricorns without any effort on their part, ironically making chasing unnecessary. Their independence also protects them from making relationship decisions based on loneliness, social pressure, or fear of missing out. Because they're genuinely content with their lives as they are, they can afford to be selective about who they allow into their carefully curated existence. This selectivity ensures that when they do choose to pursue romantic connections, it's because they genuinely want to share their life with that specific person, rather than because they need someone to make them feel complete. The 11th reason: Capricorns know that desperation repels the right people and attracts the wrong ones. Through careful observation of human psychology and their own experiences, Capricorns have discovered a fundamental truth about attraction that many people learn too late. Desperation is one of the most unattractive qualities a person can display, while confidence and self-possession act like magnets for healthy, emotionally available partners. This understanding comes from watching the relationship patterns around them and noticing how desperate behavior consistently produces disappointing results. They've observed friends who chase unavailable partners only to attract people who enjoy the attention but have no intention of reciprocating genuine interest. They've witnessed how needy behavior often appeals to individuals who prefer one-sided relationships, where they hold all the power while giving minimal investment in return. The psychology behind this phenomenon makes perfect sense to the practical Capricorn mind. Healthy, confident people are typically attracted to others who display similar qualities of self-respect and emotional stability. When someone appears desperate for attention or validation, it signals to emotionally mature individuals that this person might not be ready for the kind of balanced, mutual relationship that healthy people seek. Conversely, desperate behavior often attracts individuals who have their own emotional issues or who specifically seek partners they can control or manipulate. People who enjoy being chased often have narcissistic tendencies or commitment issues that make them poor long-term relationship prospects. By refusing to engage in chasing behavior, Capricorns automatically filter out these problematic personality types. This understanding also extends to the broader concept of energy matching in relationships. Capricorns recognize that the energy you put out into the world tends to attract similar energy in return. When you project desperation, you attract people who respond to that desperation rather than to your authentic qualities and genuine value as a partner. When you project confidence and self-sufficiency, you attract people who appreciate and complement those qualities. The practical application of this knowledge means that Capricorns consciously cultivate the qualities they want to attract in a partner. If they want someone confident and independent, they embody confidence and independence themselves. If they want someone who values ambition and achievement, they focus on their own goals rather than chasing romantic prospects. This approach consistently produces better relationship outcomes than desperate pursuit ever could. The 12th reason: they trust that the universe will bring them exactly what they deserve when the timing is right. Perhaps the most spiritually evolved aspect of the Capricorn approach to relationships is their deep faith in divine timing and cosmic justice. This isn't passive wishful thinking or lazy hoping that something will magically appear. Instead, it's an active trust that when they continue working on themselves, pursuing their goals, and maintaining their standards, the universe will orchestrate the right connections at the right time. This spiritual understanding often develops after Capricorns have experienced enough life to recognize patterns in how things unfold. They've typically observed how forced timing rarely produces lasting results, while naturally occurring opportunities often exceed their expectations. They've learned that pushing against the natural flow of events usually creates more resistance and complications than allowing things to develop organically. The concept of deserving plays a crucial role in this philosophy. Capricorns believe that the quality of relationships they attract directly correlates with the work they've done on themselves and the standards they maintain. This belief motivates them to continue growing personally, rather than focusing their energy on trying to make inappropriate connections work through force or manipulation. This trust in universal timing also provides them with patience that serves them well in the dating world. While others might panic about biological clocks, social expectations, or fear of being left behind, Capricorns remain calm in their knowing that their person will appear when they're truly ready for the kind of relationship they desire. This patience prevents them from settling for mediocre connections out of fear or rushing into relationships before they are emotionally prepared. The practical benefit of this spiritual approach is how it keeps Capricorns focused on what they can control rather than what they cannot. Instead of trying to force specific people to appreciate them or manipulate timing to make relationships happen faster, they concentrate on becoming the best version of themselves and creating lives that naturally attract compatible partners. This final reason ties together all the previous 11 by providing the spiritual framework that makes the Capricorn approach to relationships feel sustainable and peaceful rather than lonely or frustrating. Their trust in divine timing gives them the strength to maintain their standards, the patience to wait for genuine compatibility, and the wisdom to recognize that their refusal to chase actually accelerates the process of finding their ideal partner. When you understand all 12 reasons behind why Capricorns never chase anyone, you begin to see that their approach isn't just about dating strategy or personality quirks. It's about a comprehensive life philosophy that prioritizes authenticity, self-respect, and genuine connection over temporary satisfaction or social conformity. This approach consistently produces better long-term results while allowing Capricorns to maintain their integrity throughout the process. Understanding these 12 profound reasons reveals why Capricorns possess such undeniable magnetism in the relationship world. Their refusal to chase isn't born from coldness, disinterest, or playing games. It emerges from deep wisdom about human psychology, unwavering self-respect, and sophisticated understanding of how genuine connections actually develop and thrive over time. Each reason we've explored builds upon the others to create a complete picture of why this earth sign operates so differently from everyone else when it comes to matters of the heart, from their unshakable knowledge of their own worth to their trust in divine timing. Capricorns have discovered something that most people spend their entire lives trying to understand. Authentic attraction cannot be forced, manipulated, or created through desperate pursuit. The first layer of their approach centers on self-worth and authenticity. Capricorns know their value, believe in natural connections, and stay focused on building their empires rather than chasing people who don't appreciate their ambition. This foundation creates an attractive confidence that draws the right people naturally. The second layer involves their standards and wisdom about relationship dynamics. Their pride protects them from desperate behavior. They demand mutual effort rather than one-sided connections, and they genuinely prefer solitude to settling for incompatible partners. This selectivity ensures that when they do enter relationships, they're choosing quality over convenience. The third layer demonstrates their practical wisdom and spiritual understanding. They recognize that chasing wastes precious time. They trust that interested people will show effort consistently, and they believe actions reveal true intentions better than words ever could. This approach eliminates confusion and creates clarity in all their relationships. The final layer reveals their deepest wisdom about independence and cosmic timing. They've achieved genuine completeness within themselves, understand that desperation repels healthy people while attracting problematic ones, and maintain faith that the universe will bring them exactly what they deserve when the timing aligns perfectly. This comprehensive approach creates a powerful magnetism that actually makes Capricorns more attractive, because authenticity, confidence, and self-respect are incredibly appealing qualities that naturally draw people in. By refusing to chase, they position themselves as valuable individuals worth pursuing, which ironically makes others more interested in earning their attention and affection. The beauty of the Capricorn approach is how it filters for compatible partners while maintaining personal integrity. They attract people who appreciate depth, ambition, authenticity, and emotional maturity, while naturally repelling those who prefer games, drama, or superficial connections. If you recognize yourself in these 12 reasons, you're witnessing the power of authentic Capricorn energy in action. If you're trying to understand a Capricorn in your life, now you know that their seemingly detached behavior actually comes from profound wisdom rather than disinterest or inability to love deeply. We want to hear from you about your experiences with Capricorn relationship behavior. Have you witnessed these patterns in your own life or observed them in the Capricorns around you? Share your stories in the comments below about Capricorn encounters and whether these 12 reasons ring true based on what you've experienced. Do you know a Capricorn who perfectly embodies these traits? Tell us about situations where you've seen Capricorns walk away from people who were chasing them, or times when their refusal to chase actually made someone more interested in pursuing them. If you're a Capricorn yourself, we especially want to hear your perspective. Which of these 12 reasons resonates most strongly with your personal experience? Have you ever been tempted to chase someone, and how did you handle that situation? What advice would you give to other signs about understanding the Capricorn approach to relationships? For those dating Capricorns, share your insights about what it's like to be in a relationship with someone who operates from this place of authentic confidence. How has their approach affected your own relationship behavior? And what have you learned from their example? Make sure to subscribe to Secret of the Zodiac for more deep explorations into zodiac psychology and relationship dynamics. We dive deep into the mysteries of each sign to help you understand yourself and the people in your life on a much deeper level. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our daily uploads that unlock the secrets of astrology. Don't forget to like this video if these Capricorn insights helped you understand their fascinating approach to relationships. Check out our other videos exploring the relationship patterns of all 12 zodiac signs. Each sign has their own unique approach to love and connection that's worth understanding. Your support through Super Thanks helps cover our production costs and allows us to bring you fresh, daily content that explores the depths of astrological wisdom. Even small contributions make a huge difference in helping us maintain our consistent upload schedule and continue researching the fascinating world of zodiac psychology. This support directly enables us to keep delivering the high-quality content that helps you understand the cosmic influences shaping human behavior and relationships.